Recording in progress.
Yeah, go ahead, Vinod.
Good morning to one and all.
Count 40.
Wait.
Yeah. Good morning to one and all. I would like to introduce myself as Vinod Kumar Srinivasan, Company Secretary of Caplin Laboratories Limited. I welcome the members of the company to the 29th Annual General Meeting being held virtually. Before the commencement of proceedings of 29th Annual General Meeting of our company, I would like to introduce the directors of the company, statutory auditors, secretarial auditors who are participating from various locations. To start with, Mr. C.C. Parthiban, Chairman, Dr. Sridhar Ganeshan, Managing Director, Mr. D.P. Mishra, Director, Mr. V. Thirumalai, Director, Mr. R. Vishwanathan, Director, Dr. R. Ravichandran, Director, Dr. K.C. John, Director, Mr. D. Satyanarayanan, Director, Dr. C.K. Garyali, Director, and Mr. Vivek Siddharth Parthiban, Chief Operating Officer. I'd also like to introduce our statutory auditors, Mr. B. Ramakrishnan, Partner CNGS and Associates, and Mr. G. Ramachandran, Partner Ramachandran and Associates. Now I would like to explain the e-voting procedure. Pursuant to applicable provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements 2015, the company has provided remote e-voting facility for the business to be transacted at 29th Annual General Meeting from September 25th, 2020 to September 27th, 2020. Those members who have not exercised the e-voting and who are attending the AGM through video conferencing can cast their votes through e-voting platform available in NSDL portal. The e-voting option is available during the course of this meeting and for a further period of 15 minutes after the conclusion of AGM. E-voting results would be intimated to the stock exchanges within 48 hours after the conclusion of the meeting and will also be hosted on the website of the company. Thank you. I hereby confirm that there is a sufficient quorum and the meeting can commence, and I now request Dr. Sridhar Ganeshan, Managing Director, to welcome the directors, members, and the invitees.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to this virtual 29th Annual General Meeting of Caplin Laboratories Limited. I now request Mr. C.C. Parthiban to chair this meeting. Here.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the requisite quorum is present, I shall call the meeting to order. The register of directors and key managerial personnel maintained under Section 170 of the Companies Act 2013 is available for inspection electronically during the course of the meeting. I have great pleasure in extending a warm and hearty welcome to you to our 29th online AGM. Our first respects and salutes to the COVID warriors, the doctors, nurses, sanitary workers, police personnel, and others who actually worked tirelessly during this COVID time. Now our salutes and gratitude to the real warriors of our country who protect our borders. Finally, our respects and salutes to Caplin warriors who relentlessly work in the markets, factories, R&D, CRO, and office in the midst of COVID pandemic. Now, there are two major challenges which the whole world faces, that are A, COVID-19 pandemic, B, geopolitical concerns. The two things that are at stake are people's safety and business continuity. People's safety during COVID-19 pandemic, you are aware that there are three specialized disciplines which I don't have to repeat. With regard to Caplin, we have paid a decent donation to an institution, to an hospital called VHS, which is run by a charitable trust. Whenever some of our people fell sick, and they really took care of them, and our people, our employees went went and got admitted there, came back actually without any major issues. Now, business continuity in the midst of COVID-19 and the geopolitical concerns. At this juncture, what we need is a strategic imperative to create a new normal, which alone will transform the bitter reality to a better normal. COVID-19 and the geopolitical challenges are definitely a double whammy for most of the companies who does not have a strategic priority to select the products, people, and markets. Here, I would like to touch base the two important things called disease and decision. As you are aware, disease and decision does not happen in vacuum. For disease, you are aware it is now globalized in the deglobalized world. What we need is a disciplined mind, not a disobedient mind, to prevent the disease without actually furthering in the population. And the decisions that we took in our markets determined our cash flow, which is as follows. One, increase in cash flow to the tune of 120 crores in the last 180 days. 180 crore additional cash flow in last 180 days. Between April to September. Second, the total deposit stands at 405 crore and 21 lakhs as on 25th September. And our products have created a profound influence at the bottom of the pyramid in Central American markets. I'm proud to say that our business model is not only a brand, it also has become a voice for the BOP. And now I would like to mention the three major differentiators that they created this cash flow are as follows. Number one, goods closer to the customer. Number two, 360 plus employees of Central America who are again closer to our actually customer. Number three is a family member, my son, who has been actually in the midst of all this COVID and physical risk, and who has been spearheading the whole operations for the last 15, 16 years. Now, it is important to mention that we have exported goods worth of $100 million actually in the last financial year to the smaller geographies of Latin America. If you look at the bigger companies, the maximum of export that has happened in Latin America is in the region of 150 crores, that too to the bigger geographies. Now we are all set to enter the bigger geographies of Latin America. Before I give you the nuts and bolts of our future activities, I would like to give you an anecdote now. If a person goes with the COVID symptoms to a doctor, the diagnosis will be one and the same, whether he is a Bill Gates or a residence near a toll gate. And the treatment will be based on the attention to details and the focus that they get it from the tests. That's why what is important here is the attention to details, and this attention to details is not only applicable to the ailing individual, but also to the companies and economies. Now, the attention to detail is a strategic necessity to every company to select the people, to select the products and markets, marketing, R&D, and manufacturing. Let us look at our future activities, which will decide our dreams, destiny, and destination. We also understand that our past conquest does not guarantee any privy purse for our future business. But you are aware that Phoenix Moments are not new to Caplin Point, which is a turnaround company. Now the products and people. Our focus in future will be on products that are difficult to manufacture, and we will also remove the low margin products and get into critical products, which will become the mainstay of Caplin Point product portfolio. And this is possible mainly because of the extraordinary R&D that we have. And most of the people who head our R&D and CRO have come from the best of the best companies of India. and 100 to 125 products we have already completed, and most of them are either in the form of translation or in the form of filing in various countries of Latin America. And our focus is going to be more on Latin America and US, and the details of which will be, the US market details will be detailed by our COO later. And the actual milestones which we have achieved during the financial year will be detailed by our MD. The team of 360 people in Latin America will also help us to expand faster in the newer markets as they understand the language, culture of the bigger geographies too. That way, I'm sure this will create a cultural assimilation, which is important for marketing. Now, markets and the manufacturing facilities. Our dream destination, as I told you before, is going to be Latin America and USA. And I would like to say a few important things about our entry into bigger geographies in Latin America and also about the facilities which are planning for future. The big companies focus on tender business in Latin America, whereas we have been focusing on private markets even in the smaller geographies. And you are aware this is what has brought us to where we are today. And we will continue to focus on the private markets of the larger geography. Although the business are not voluminous, I'm sure actually we'll be able to chase the value add, which will create the current, which will also further and enhance our liquidity and the profits. Coming to manufacturing, we have bought 15 acres of land in an industrial estate near our US FDA facility, where we will build our API facilities both for US and other regulated markets, in addition to ROW markets too. This will decrease our dependence on APIs compared to actually, we have been doing for the last few years. We also have plans to buy injectable machineries to complete our second phase with the hope of doing contract manufacturing for the vaccine companies. We are sure once an effective vaccine is introduced, there will be a lot of opportunities for many injectable companies to get into the contract manufacturing of vaccines. In 1%, if it doesn't happen also, we will convert actually these machineries as a facility for oncology, where there is a huge opportunity in international markets. Finally, things in a nutshell. Maximum business from minimum populations of Latin America, goods, people, promoter closer to the customer, unlike other companies of our size. 3, all our future capex will be from the internal accruals. 4, Phoenix moments to value monopoly during COVID times. You are aware that the companies, especially the conglomerates, are chasing monopolies and near monopolies. It's time for a company like ours to get into value monopolies. We will add value to the customer and extract value actually from the customers for the cash flow and the profits of our company. And the 5th, Nova's Ark, currently building a non-submergible Titanic with the professionals of Caplin Point. Finally, last but not least, to prevent the COVID-19, what is needed, as I told you before, is a discipline, not a disobedient mind. Finally, fearless life has led to limitless opportunities for Caplin Point. During these unprecedented challenges, I'm sure that we will make these obstacles as a launching pad to get into the uncontested space to create anti-fragile Caplin. And I finally thank all the members of the board, shareholders, and others attending the meeting. Now it's time for Dr. Sridhar to present his speech.
Thank you very much for the wonderful talk, Chairman. Good morning to all of you once again. I will take you through my presentation. Before I start my presentation, I thought I will welcome a special person to this meeting in the form of Mr. Ashok. Mr. Ashok is a hero for us. In spite of the COVID difficulties, he and his team continuously worked in the field. And as chairman has pointed out, in this 4 or 5 months, we have got maximum revenue from that area. Hats off to them. Yeah. Please, next slide.
Yes, doctor. One second.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 years back, if you recall, our annual revenue was 177 crores. In 2019-20, the annual turnover is 863 crores, almost 5 times. At that time, our chairman had mentioned that we will be growing at a rate of 20 to 25% CAGR. And we have maintained that in the last 6 years. Next slide, please. Yeah. We have ensured that there's a steady growth in our profit as well, which is evident from this slide. 2019-20, the PBT stands at 269 crores. Next slide. The net profit was 26 crores 6 years back. Now it's at whopping 215 crores, almost 8 times. The reasons are the number of products registered were 1,600 at that time. Now it's over 3,800. We now have US FDA approval for our injectable facility and are selling 3 products in the US and 4 are under manufacture. More on US business, I have a COO, Mr. Vivek. We have our own CRO for BE studies. We have received order for conducting US-based products, using which we will be applying for US FDA approval for the state-of-the-art CRO. In fact, it just started one study last week. High-value soft gel capsules were introduced for cold, allergy, pain management, electric dysfunction, etc. The bioavailability of all these products are much better and they give much higher profits compared to their equivalent in tablet or in capsule forms. Moreover, not many companies have the facility to manufacture soft gel, therefore we have an edge. Our injectable facility in Pondicherry has gone full throttle. We have successfully launched lyophilized injectables, liquid injectables in vials and in ampoules, difficult to manufacture anesthetic injectable, propofol, injectable and pre-filled syringes, and the market offtake is positive. Next slide, please. The reason we have grown at this rate is that we take care of each quarterly performance and the year takes care of itself. You will observe that there is a dip in the Q4 performance, and this is because COVID-related products were sold to government as a goodwill gesture at 0 profit. Next slide. Yeah, that is reflected in the PBT of last quarter. Next slide. The PBT slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. That's also reflected in the Q4. No, before this. Okay, yeah. This is reflected in the last quarter, Q4. Yeah, next slide. And let's compare last year versus this year, the current year. Top line has grown by a good 33% from 648 crores to 863 crores. No, yeah. Total income has grown still better. Gross margin has increased by 25%. However, in 2019-20, saw a dip in gross margin because we acquired subsidiaries in the later half of the year, and Some sales by subsidiaries were from pre-acquisition stock, which were carried at their purchase cost. This will be moderated over the current year. The PBT, EBITDA, PBT, and the PAT has grown by 20 to 22% over the previous year. However, during the year, there's a slight dip because we have doubled the R&D expenditure, as Chairman was mentioning, with a special emphasis on R&D, which has grown from 28 crores the previous year. We have spent now 53 crores during 1920. This investment is going to give us high returns in the coming years. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. If you recall, our chairman in 2016 had mentioned that our 2016 net profit is almost equal the total turnover 6 years back. If you see the first slide. I'm glad to share with you that we have kept up that trend consistently in the last 4 years. In 1920, the net profit of 215 crores being higher than 176 crores turnover of 2014. I hope we keep up this. I thank you for your patient listening. I now request our COO, Mr. Vivek, to talk on US business. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Welcome to everyone that's present here. I'll give you a little brief into our progress in the US. We continue to make satisfactory progress in terms of our revenues and also our filings in the US. So as on date, we have about 19 products that we have filed, of which 9 have been approved. 3 are with our partners in their names, and then the other 6 are in Caplin's own names. And the partners' products have all been launched, and out of Caplin's 6 products, 4 have been launched, and 2 are about to be launched in December. Till now, we've been doing mostly simple solutions in injectables, but obviously we are working now on slightly more complex products, what you would call as suspensions and emulsions. These typically take a little bit longer, both in R&D and under approval, but obviously being complex products, they have lesser competition compared to other run-of-the-mill products. Now, our commercial model in the US continues to remain similar to what we've done in the last couple of quarters. We initially started off as a CMO kind of a model, but we changed that around and started developing IP of our own. We've put together an excellent team of R&D specialists, both for our regulated markets and our rest of the world markets. Now, I'm proud to announce that we have over 34 products that are under our active pipeline that is likely to be filed in the next 3 to 3.5 years. Our commercial model, like I was saying, has been more on signing distribution types of deals in recent days, where we take maximum profit share, which we feel there's more long-term rather than taking big milestones or license fees upfront. This is also in tune with our plan of getting into the front end and launching our own label in the US sometime by end of 2022 or early 2023, by which time we hope to have at least around 24, 25 products under our belt. The products that we have launched, we have seen our market share of anywhere between 7 to 12%. We are actively working on improving that. I think 10 is an acceptable number, but we are striving for at least 15% market share, because we would like to be one of the lower cost manufacturers, you know. And with regards to capacity expansion, we have had line 2 already installed, and it's under qualification, which is another vial line. We have an ophthalmic line, which we call as line 3, that is going for media fills, which is basically the last step for qualifications. But the truth is, it has been delayed by at least a couple of months because of the fact that during COVID season there was large restriction on man movement from interstate, because the qualification process is basically done by the machine fabricators, the vendors, so they're not able to come in and we also couldn't take our people to more than 60-70% in a couple of months. So that has been pushed out a little bit, but we are hopeful that the ophthalmic line will be qualified for exhibit batches by end of October and vial line sometime in November. We are expecting, in terms of approvals expected, we are expecting at least another 5 products to be approved before April 2021. And a couple of them, as of course, one of them is directly a COVID-related drug, so we are hoping for that approval quite quickly. And the rest of them are products that we filed last year. Our approval timeline has been quite decent, I would say, within 12 to 15 month period, which is basically one GDUFA timeline plus one review cycle, which is quite decent, which is average across industry standards. As I was saying, the front end in the US is going to be very important for us. We are already talking to people that are potentially going to be running our front end operations over there. In terms of cost wise, a few people have a misconception that this would be expensive, but with whatever little knowledge that we have acquired, it looks like within $1.5 to $2 million, we'll be able to run a front end for a year, because most of the services that we would require are largely outsourced over there. And many of the larger Indian companies as well, about 10-15 years ago, started off with skeletal kind of operations. We'll be doing something similar. In terms of expansion into other capabilities, we are putting together a pre-mix bag line for the US. This is a trend that we've noticed over the last couple of years, where basically we need to reduce the number of steps that a healthcare worker takes in the US while administering injectable drugs. So rather than having to draw out an injection from a vial and then sticking it into an IV, this is actually an IV solution that is already pre-mixed with the drug. So in terms of R&D and definitely manufacturing, this is quite complex. Hopefully we'll be one of 4 or 5 people only in India that are getting into this category. So we are quite bullish on that. We're also getting into lyophilized products. We had a little bit of a capacity constraint, but we are rectifying that, and we'll be getting into lyophilized products early next year. In terms of backward integration, as Chairman was saying, we have already completed the design drawing and detail engineering for our API plant. We'll be focusing both on our internal captive consumption API and also our top 10 Latin American large volume API that we currently buy from outside. We would try to manufacture them in-house, so we can look at least 10 to 15% lesser COGS going forward. Apart from non-US, we are very close to signing with a Canadian company for many of the products that we are doing in the US. Basically, going forward, we are trying to do only global dossiers in the sense that whatever products that we are developing for the US, we are likely to launch it in Latin America, Canada, etc. So even though they are smaller markets, it still adds up, when all of them are put together. And apart from that, I think in terms of competition, yes, there is competition in the US compared to what we are doing in Latin America, but still we feel that, compared to our oral solid dosages, injectables, there is still competition. There is few and far between, anywhere between 4 to 6 people per product, which would tell you that we can very much strive for 10 to 15% market share, what they call as fair market share. We are also looking at alternate ways in which we can get into the US. We are looking at strategies that would sort of mimic what we are doing in Latin America, but this is early stages. We would like to attempt this. We would like to attempt this strategy and then give you more details as and when we feel comfortable. That's about it from the US. We hope that next year is going to be a little bit safer, a little bit more comfortable for everyone with the travel and stuff. But anything else, I'm happy to take questions from people. Thank you very much.
Director Mr. R. Viswanathan to deliver his speech. Yeah. Mute.
Please go ahead. Yes, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. Chairman Parthiban had mentioned the word Latin America so many times. It was music to my ears. It was like a musical refrain. As many of you know, I am an expert on Latin America, specializing in the region for the last 24 years. I have lived there for 12 years, and I've been promoting relations and business between India and Latin America. So it is in this context, I find that it is extraordinary and unique that over 80% of the revenue of Caplin Point comes from Latin America. So it's not only music, it's money. Let me place the business of Caplin Point in Latin America in the larger context. India's business with Latin America has been growing steadily over the years. Last year, we exported $13 billion and imported $20 billion. Now, out of our $13 billion, the pharmaceutical exports were $1 billion. Every one of the 19 countries in Latin America have been receiving supply of pharmaceuticals from India regularly. Now, the governments, and especially the health ministers and the people of the region, are unanimous in their appreciation that Indian pharma industry has helped them to reduce the cost of healthcare. Now, the Latin American importers and the businessmen, they have solid confidence in the strength of the Indian pharma strength. And so they continue to look forward to getting more from India. The region imported $26 billion of pharmaceuticals last year. There is scope for India to increase its share from 1 billion. We can easily double it in the next 4 years. And correspondingly, Caplin Point can also increase its exports in the coming years. I want to point out two favorable factors, one short-term, the other one is long-term. The short-term one is this COVID-19. Now, because of COVID-19, like other regions, Latin America is going to suffer a GDP contraction of 9%. More people are going below poverty line because of the economic crisis. It means Latin American countries will have less money, less foreign exchange, but to serve more poor people in this year and in the coming years. So with less money and more people to serve, it is logical for Latin America to import more low-cost generic medicines from India than the expensive patented medicines from United States or Europe. So this is the short-term opportunity. Now, in the long term, I find that Caplin Point has a unique advantage. It is the leader and the #1 supplier of pharmaceuticals to Central America, which is the toughest part of Latin America. Most Indian companies have not gone into this region because it has the problem of security and it is very challenging. But Caplin Point has gone there successfully and courageously. And they are the only company which have direct networking with the pharmacies and distributors in Central America. But more than that, this is the only company which has over 24 Indian staff working in the nook and corner of Central America. This is something unique. Even big companies like Sun Pharma or the Aurobindo, who do more business in Latin America, they do not have this many Indian staff. Over 24 Indian staff working through the jungles and the volcanoes of Central America. This is something unique. So I would like to salute these young Indians who speak Spanish and who have acclimatized themselves very well, adjusting to local culture, speak the language, and they are hardworking and they are motivated. And they are fortunate to have the leadership of Ashok Partiban, who has been living there for the last 15 years, who has understood the region, the business culture, much more than many Indian businessmen. So I would like to compliment him and his team to make Latin America as the primary market for Caplin Point at this time. I would like to conclude by saying a word about founder and chairman, Mr. Partiban. I find that his business vision is guided by a knowledge-based entrepreneurship. He reads more books than many of us. He keeps learning and pursuing excellence with a great hunger constantly. So with these solid fundamentals of management and the marketing advantage Caplin Point has in Latin America, I am confident and optimistic there's going to be a promising future in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vishwanathan, for your kind gesture. Now I request our director, Dr. K.C. John, to deliver his speech.
Doctor, your voice is not audible. No, still not, Doctor. Can you try without the headphones, maybe? Plug it. No, not yet. No, I think down on the left side, does it say join audio or something, Doctor? Can you see? Can you try now, Doctor? No, not yet.
Yeah, if Mr. Vivek,
Yes, Dr. Sridhar. Yeah.
if it is going to take more time, can we proceed and then?
Can you, Vivek, there's an issue. Can you read his speech because it has been sent to you also?
Yeah. Doctor, can you try one last time? Otherwise, I'll read out the speech that you had sent. No, we can't hear.
We can't hear.
So it's I'm sorry.
Okay, 1 second, Doctor. 1 second.
Yeah, we'll try one more time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll have to read out his speech.
Yeah. Okay, so Doctor, I will read out on your behalf if that's okay. Okay. So thank you very much, Chairman, sir. Dear shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, undoubtedly you are aware that we are confronted with a once-in-a-century pandemic. COVID-19 has triggered massive disruptions globally. It is a global health crisis that, in addition to an enormous impact on lives and livelihoods, has led to the deepest global recession since the Second World War. In an unprecedented response, we are witnessing governments, public and private healthcare systems, multilateral organizations, pharmaceutical companies, and citizens at large working together to evolve responses to the major challenge to lives and livelihoods. The chairman dwelt in a speech how Caplin Point has responded to this crisis comprehensively. I would like to commend the spirit of togetherness that the chairman alluded to. Caplin Point is a company of people first, with a business model focused on bottom of the pyramid, with a strong resolve to deepen its societal relevance during the global crisis through business excellence and innovation. A crisis of this magnitude is novel, truly unprecedented. Now it is the time for companies to reimagine resilience and shape their business frameworks from operational to financial, to adapt to fast evolving conditions and anticipated aftershocks with agility and ease. I would like to reflect on your company's efforts in improving resilience and state of preparedness to get on to the next orbit of performance in the years ahead. Recognizing assets and supply chains to create resilience. Caplin Point leadership decisions has helped to improve the cash flow positive situation. Its backward integration to manufacture APIs would reduce dependence on outside geographies and vendors for raw materials. This will lead to a substantial cost reduction and improved margins in the US business. Agility and transparency will be critical. Plant to portal approach embraced by the company will ensure that digital and analytics become the engine of acceleration. This would lead to superior capture of margins across every intermediate point. Simultaneously focused on multiple horizons. Horizon 1, sharp focus on strengthening their sales and distribution in Latin America through expansion of territory. Horizon 2, game changer for Caplin Point of addressable market in US and improved margins in the world's largest pharmaceutical market. Horizon 3, growing the CRO and broad-based product portfolio will attractively position the company to adapt the therapy around any patient preference. During times of uncertainty and disruption, information and analytics coupled with scenario plans provide a steadying force. Caplin Point has mobilized resources and capabilities across strategy, operations, and around the territories to ensure that it continues to understand fast emerging business realities and could make strong, informed decisions to continue on growth-driven trajectory. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. John. Very well put. Thank you.
Sorry, we are unable to see your presentation. However, we heard your speech. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Doctor.
I hope I did justice to your speech.
Yes. Now, since the annual report and the notice has been with you for quite some time, with the consent of the members, I shall take it as read. Thank you. Since there are no qualifications in the auditor's report and secretarial audit report pursuant to the applicant provisions of Companies Act 2013, they may be taken as read. Members who have not cast their votes already are requested to vote on the resolution through a e-voting process explained by our company secretary. I take this opportunity to thank the members present. Now I request the following members who have registered themselves as speakers to speak in the following order. In order to give opportunity to each and every member who have registered themselves as speakers, I request that each member may restrict their questions, if any, to a maximum of 2 or speak for a maximum of 5 minutes, please. The queries will be answered after all the speakers have completed their speech. Now, I'll call upon the names of the registered speakers individually, one by one, for speaking. Now, Mr. K.N. Ghani, please.
Mr. Ghani, Mr. Ghani, I have just made you panelist. Please come forward with your questions. Are you there, Mr. Ghani? You're able to hear us?
Oh, hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So good morning to all. I'm just on the audio mode because I'm on my mobile data. So I have a couple of questions, sir, but I'll just keep it under 5 minutes. Okay. I've been your investor for the past 4 years now, and hence some of my questions are related to the earlier annual report as well, sir. Okay. My first question is on the financial goals. We have this top line of FY16 revenue to be the bottom line of FY21, which we have already reached now. So I think congratulations to the entire management. So I would like to know if we can actually repeat this feat again. If not, do you have any new financial goals that you would like to achieve in the next 5 years? Please let know on this. Okay, my second question is on the government incentive for local API manufacturing. Does any of our current APIs that manufacture fall into this 53 APIs that the government has identified? Also, are we planning to produce any of these other APIs from the government list to benefit from this incentive? The third one is on, sir, in FY17 annual report, you have mentioned about the geographical ambition of expanding into larger markets like Brazil. You mentioned about company, you also mentioned that our company has received approval from ANVISA, ANVISA. I'm not sure whether I'm spelling it correctly. However, in this annual report, there is no mention of Brazil expansion problem. I mean, Brazil expansion progress. So are we really having any challenges in this market? Please provide details on that, sir. Sir, similarly in FY19 annual report, and also in the AGM, you mentioned that there is good prospects in China with our joint venture partner, Joint on Pharma. But in page 203, I actually see that we hardly make any money from this venture. So please provide the growth prospects of this joint venture as well. Sir, you mentioned about Caplin steroids injections growing at 3.5 times to 65 crores. But based on page 203, it has reported a loss of 24 crores. So I'm assuming that this must be due to the investments that we have made in FY20. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. Also, let know when can we expect this to turn profitable, and also let know the expected profit margins from the subsidiary. Sir, we have received a dividend from Caplin Point Far East Limited, Hong Kong in FY19. But however, for this year, we have not received any dividends. Any reasons for that? My seventh question is on any work in progress for inorganic expansions. Any takeover plans that we are looking into? Number 8, please provide details on this compulsorily convertible preferred shares.
Mr. Gani,
Yeah.
You are I would sorry to intervene. We in fact actually have mentioned in our annual report that you are supposed to register your questions 1 week in advance. However, we requested you to proceed with your questions, but it cannot be to the tune of 10 and 12, please. Either you have to limit it actually to 2.
Yeah, I have just 2 more questions, sir.
No, please. Let us go by the rule book also, because you see, if we will be able to answer your questions, it's not an issue. You can even contact me anytime. I am ready to answer to your questions. This is not the time actually to give you answer all the 10, 12 questions, because you have not registered yourself 1 week in advance. However, we allowed you. You are also aware that I wanted you to question, but if you keep on actually adding 10 and 11, it's practically not possible to answer all your questions, please.
Sir, I want to tell you two
Better
things,
to actually limit yourself with these questions. Okay, then it will become more than actually our speech, please.
Sir, I've registered myself 2 weeks back, sir, as a speaker.
In fact, company secretary has given me the list. It was not there. But
sir, I've already registered. Sir, I can share the mail for which I've registered. Okay. Plus, I spoke to Vinod yesterday stating
I don't know actually an argument with you.
Sir, my question is I wanted to send it by mail, which he didn't accept it. I said I will send all my questions by mail, which he didn't accept it yesterday. Please talk to Mr. Vinod as well.
No, that's what I said. If you see the annual report, you should have registered 1 week prior to it. Whether it is 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago, or 2 days ago, is not as per the annual report. This is what I would like to convey. What you have done with Vinod is between you and Vinod, although he is our company secretary. What is mentioned in the annual report, I stand by that one. I am ready to answer to your questions. Now I am ready. Anyway, but I think it's better you please confine to actually limited questions. Let us not increase. Okay,
Okay, sir.
is it okay? Can I answer to your questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, coming to the, thanks for being a shareholder with us for the last 4 years. And then coming to the financial goals, as we told you in course of our speech, our dream destination is again actually Latin America. We are expanding not only in the current markets, but also in the bigger geographies of South America. And then the CEO already has told you that we are getting stronger day by day actually in the US markets too, although we are not one of the major players there. But we are very sure that we'll be in a position to strengthen our business in South America. That's what has brought the company to where it is today. As I told you before, 180 crores in addition to the deposit of 100 crores as on March 2020, we increased it, which means the total deposits in the parent company is in the region of 280 plus crores and another 110 crore in Caplin Steroids. All this, you are aware that there is nothing in the form of debt in the company except a small portion in one of our subsidiaries. So we consider this as a differentiator compared to any company of our size. That's the financial, then you will understand the financial goal of the company and the financial imperative in the form of cash flow, profits. Then coming to API, yes, the incentives are in the form of actually, which is not very clear because this is only for facilities which are in the region of 1,000 crore and above. However, it is time for us to reduce our dependence on external facilities or countries. So the focus will be more on API that will not only support the profitability, but also there will be a consistency when we manufacture our own API. So the focus will be more on APIs in future, not only for the regulated markets, but also for the ROW markets. Coming to your question on Brazil, it's unfortunate that the importer of our Brazil has gone bankrupt. With the result, we have not been able to continue our business in Brazil. Now we are talking to a couple of people, and shortly we will go for a desktop audit for Brazil and start our business in Brazil. Coming to your fourth question, China, the investment in China is not very high. It's in the region of course, I'll ask my CFO to give you the exact figure. And with regard to actually the future business of China, you are aware that our exports of formulation has been going from China, which is similar to any other imports from South America, which means we are not importing any API from China, and we will not import also APIs from China. That is the issue which has been happening in a big way. The second issue is, it's true, the Chinese companies have increased the KSM, mainly actually in products where there is a monopoly and near monopoly in China, which means, as I told in course of our speech, it's time for us to create a value monopoly. The value monopoly is in the form of exports from actually China. We will also go for more and more of exports from the neighboring countries who have good treaties with China. For some time, there is no way we can totally stop everything from China, although we have not been very comfortable with this country. So it's better actually, I confine my comments with that one. And the Caplin Steroids, I will request the COO to give you actually the answer to it.
Yeah, on Caplin Steroids, yes, the 65 crore, which is a growth of 3.5x over last year, is in terms of revenue. And there is still obviously a loss because our investments and our operational expenses per year amounts to the tune of almost 75 to 80 crore. While we feel that internally, and also we've given this out in public, the minute we cross a revenue of around 120-130 crore would be when we feel that there will be a cash flow break even. And of course, I'm not able to put my finger on when that will happen exactly. We feel that in the next 18 months, there could be progress towards that goal. Thank you.
Okay, now I request Mr. Suresh Kumar Sisodia to give his speech.
Mr. Suresh has not joined, so I will include the next person in line, which is Abhishek, please.
Okay. Now I request Mr. Abhishek, J. Abhishek, to give his speech.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
My name
very
is
much.
Abhishek of the company. My DBID IN301637 and client ID is 41359155. First of all, I congratulate the management on the annual general body meeting. Trust all is well with you and your family in this challenging situation. Our company deserves much more respect to the current market cap after completing more than a decade of successful operations, profitability, and becoming one of the strongest brand in our respective segment. Sir, we are long-term shareholders in your company, sir. We would like to know where you see the light in the end of the tunnel and what will be the growth triggers in first half and second half. Then I would like to appreciate the management for having declared a very good dividend and even managed to give a dividend even during the pandemic situation. The coronavirus and subsequent lockdowns have left virtually no industry untouched after the COVID. So I would like to know any employees we have sacked, hired, salary cut in percentage, if any. What is the view of the management going forward? Sustainability of the profit earning growth will remain challenged in the coming quarters. What are our management efforts to improve working capital, sales ratio, ROC, EBITDA, and interest coverage? And nothing. What are the credentials that the new and existing directors are bringing on the table to take the company next phase of growth or to guide the new generation? Nothing much to ask. The company is performing better year on year, and hope to see you in the physical AGM next year. We wish the company and the board of directors a great success and prosperity in the coming future. Thank you for giving the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek. Coming to our question, one is actually the reduction in employees. There is no such major reduction in employee. And the other thing which you mentioned is regarding with regard to ROC. I would request actually my CFO to answer for that.
Thanks to Chairman. Can I go ahead and answer those questions? First, let me address Mr. Gani's question, if he's still online. He has asked about China JV. As Chairman has mentioned, we have invested about 1.8 crores in the form of initial share capital, and we are not losing money there. So as and when the business model, as and when the business improves there, and then we start going into the business, we will recover that money and then we'll do well there. Secondly, on the CSL last figure, 24 crores was the PAT last year last. It's because of mainly, as Mr. Vivek has put it, we are yet to reach the break-even turnover, which we hope to reach soon. Secondly, we don't capitalize any of the R&D expenses. Every year we are spending about close to $175,000, and that is charged off. And if you read our annual report, we have doubled our R&D expenditure from 28 to 53 crores. That also is being charged off on incurrence. So these are the two reasons we lay emphasis on R&D, and these are all investment for the future. That is why the loss is appearing to be higher. We hope to recover soon. And in terms of Hong Kong dividend, we want to confirm here that whatever dividend that is received from Hong Kong is being passed on to the Indian shareholders on the parent company. Last year, if you recollect, we have declared a dividend of 110% for the year 18-19. And also during March, we have given interim dividend of 105%, which is supplemented by 20% of the final dividend now. So not even 1 rupee is retained here. Whatever is received from Hong Kong is being fully passed on to the shareholders of the parent company.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abhishek. Now I will request Mr. Jai Chand to give a speech, please.
He has not joined. I am representing them. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Abhishek. Now I request any of the shareholders to come forward to give if there is any queries.
That is about it, Chairman. So we can move on to the next.
With this, we conclude the 29th Annual General Meeting of Caplin Point Laboratories Limited. I would like to thank the members and my colleagues on the board for allowing me to chair this meeting. Thank you very much. And now DP Mishra will deliver the vote of thanks.
I would like to thank Chairman for smooth conduct of this meeting, Board of Directors, members for their active participation in the proceedings. I wish to thank statutory auditors, internal auditors, secretarial auditors for their presence and support. I would also like to thank Integrated Registry Management Services Private Limited and NSDL for their support and conducting this virtual AGM in a smooth manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.